has I. So you said that vulnerability is the state of being secure.
Yeah, vulnerability, the willingness to be vulnerable is also having synonymous with having a sense of security in self.
Right.
Because no matter what happens, you still feel positive about whatever is going to happen moving forward after that moment of vulnerability.
Right.
So people who are scared of vulnerability, it's like they don't have a sense of security of self, which when you don't know yourself, you can't have a sense of security of self.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people are scared to be vulnerable, because they don't even know who they are.
Right. And vulnerability is those moments where it's a chance to transform.
Yeah.
Like you never know what you're gonna get out of that moment if you're not being vulnerable. You're just always trying to protect.
Yeah. You can't be yourself.
Right.
Because you just worried about protecting yourself from the next person, instead of just doing what you naturally feel.
Right.
And so it's definitely a opportunity to help you evolve, because usually those moments of vulnerability come at a time where you in a transitional point. You at a low.
Mm-hmm.
You at a real low point in your life, and what you do is going to determine how your life goes from that point moving forward.
Right.
Is it going to get better or worse?
And if you don't open up, then...
Yeah. If you don't open up, then definitely nobody can help you.
Right.
And people, I think that's how people end up falling, all the way down.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, so... It was a good podcast. I liked also what she was saying. She was saying that a lot of people use the terminology journey, which I do too, or whatever. But journey is more so of a destination. Like you're constantly talking about where you're trying to get to and stuff, instead of thinking about the moment, living in the moment, appreciating the moment, being grateful for where you are now.
Yeah.
And so I like that. And she said, instead of saying journey, she would say her walk.
Yeah.
Her walk. So.
Yeah, that does make a lot more sense, because journey is like a more broad perspective of a bigger timeline, put into a terminology, and walk is something that's present moment, like it's happening now.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Right. So I definitely would adapt that term because I understand it more.
Yeah.
So.
I know I've used the term or the phrase "on my path" a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's kind of the same thing. I'm on my path.
Right. I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but anything to help you understand that you got to focus on the present moment.
Right.
I mean, because that's the highest priority. The present moment is all that exists, like we all know.
Right.
The past is already gone, and the future ain't happened yet. And what you do right now in the present is going to determine what happens in the future anyway.
Yeah. Basically.
So it's no point to get all caught up on the what if sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You have to live every moment, even the dark moments, because a lot of people, they want to run from darkness and hide from it because they don't think that, anything productive can't come from darkness. But when you go through it, it's something divine. You're like, oh, wow, I got through that storm. Oh, wow, I didn't think I was going to see this day or whatever. Just keep walking through it.
Yeah, because the darkness is where you find out who you are and how strong you are. Because if you can make it through the dark times, then you can make it through the hard times. You can make it through the easy times for sure.
Right. So even just on a mediocre level, when I was younger, I was scared of the dark. And so, even if I'm just walking to the bathroom, in that moment, I'm still scared. I'm it's dark. What's going to jump out and blah, blah, blah. And then when I get to the bathroom, okay, I'm here.
Nothing happened.
Right, nothing happened.
It's never as
bad.
I'm
not scared of the dark.
It never ends up being as bad as you think it's going to be.
Right.
Never. Even if it's a not so good outcome, the lesson that you learn from that, if you allow yourself, it's still going to make you a better person. Mm-hmm. So it's never as bad as you think it's going to be.
Right. And you would never know what the outcome would be if you don't walk through it. So you said, even if it's a less favorable outcome, well, this is the result of these type of actions or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you just have to walk through it. Stop, a lot of people, they want to fight. They want to, like, fight against the darkness.
Yeah.
And it's like, most of the time, like, it's already, the fight or the battle or the war is already won.
Yeah. Yeah, because what you fight against, you give energy to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's kind of like you just got to learn how to go with the flow.
Right. I read something that said, what you fight is what you invite.
Yeah, I like that. It's true. We know.
What you fight is what you invite. So that's why a lot of the times, you know, with our conversations, we just go with the flow with stuff.
Yeah, because
and it didn't seem like, you know, it seemed like, you know, we gearing up and fighting war, but we're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just what we gonna choose to continue to do.
Yeah.
Things we know that it's right.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's true, because like unless it's a physical fight where somebody like in your face, like physically threatening you, all the other kind of fights, you have to engage in it for it to be a fight.
Right.
If you don't, it's just somebody shadow boxing with some imaginary person that they're going against.
Right.
Because somebody could be fully, you know, in competition or fighting with you, and you not even be anywhere in the fight at all.
Right.
But in their whole mind, they fighting with you.
Yeah.
But in your mind, it's no fight.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So.
Yeah.
So what you want to wrap it up with, babe?
I want to wrap it up by just letting people know that, you know, it's okay to be vulnerable. And I know a lot of people might feel like they don't have a lot of people that they can be vulnerable to, you know, but, you know, if you don't, you got to find somebody that you can be vulnerable to, you know, even if it's a counselor or something like that. You got to find somebody you can be vulnerable to, because if not, you got to walk around holding that, bottling all of that up your whole life, you know, and sometimes, you know, you learn who's with you when you're vulnerable. You just got to be careful with how you express your vulnerability, you know, and don't say something that's going to be used against you. But at the same time, you know, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Be secure in yourself. And if you're not secure in yourself, then you got some soul searching to do. You got to ask yourself, who are you? Like, what are you here for? Like, what is your purpose? Like, what is your goal in life? Are you working towards that or not? And if you're not, then what do you need to change to get on track? Because once you get on that path of knowing who you are and what you're doing, like what your purpose is, then you lose fear about a lot of stuff, because you start feeling empowered, you know, in some type of synchronicity with the universe. Like, I'm living my universal purpose. So to that end, nobody can stop that.
Right.
Because the universe is conspiring. I'm conspiring with myself in the universe to achieve that goal. So nothing can stop that except myself.
Right. And to add to that is the same thing with growing through the dark or whatever. Like, you knowing or being secure in who you are in the universe, you can't be touched. It don't matter what you're going through.
Exactly.
You cannot be touched.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, being vulnerable is your greatest strength. Like, you know, when you and I met or whatever and first started dating, that was like really the first time in my life, like, just being vulnerable and just allowing someone to just see all of me, my scars, my pain, my whatever. And, you know, we grew through it, but it was tough or whatever. And, you know, I was always led to believe I needed to be tough. So me being vulnerable, that's me allowing somebody to see my weaknesses or whatever. But what I learned is, like, just allowing somebody to see who I am all the way. It was my greatest strength.
Yeah, I feel you.
And my greatest accomplishment, because it opened up so many other things that allow me to get to know me even more in a personal level.
And to add to that, it allowed me to continue unraveling my vulnerability, you know, and who I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm always going to be, you know, open, you know, but I'm still, like I said earlier, you got to be careful about how you express your vulnerability.
Yeah.
So I will put out some vulnerability with someone who I feel like I can put my faith in, and how they respond will determine if I will expose any more of my vulnerability. And so the fact that you reciprocated that vulnerability, it allowed me to continue opening up the layers of myself. And we did that so simultaneously that it just happened in a really, really short period of time. It didn't take like a year or something. It was crazy. It took like a couple weeks.
Like you pulling a layer off so slowly.
Because you're so extra cautious.
I'm like, and we was just at a point where I'm going to give you my raw self.
Yeah.
I'm going to just be me. And if this does not work out, that's fine. If you do, that's even, greater or whatever. But I don't want to waste no time.
Yeah,
I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time.
Exactly. I want to give you the opportunity to make a real choice of whether or not that you want to move forward with me in any type of way, friend, relationship. This is me, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so if you don't move forward with me based off of who I am, that's okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that, because I understood my situation at the time. It's not a lot of people that would have wanted to endure that or accept that. And that's cool, because I couldn't blame somebody for not wanting to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I guess, I had vision, you know what I mean? I had confidence in where I was going, and from what I know now, you saw that, and you saw through all of the riffraff, that was the ugly truth about who I was, well, not necessarily who I was, but what I was going through,
right,
or whatever. So that, and like you said, I didn't want to waste your time. I didn't want to waste my time. Like, if you're gonna like me, you know what I mean? Don't like the representative. I ain't got no representative. You know what I mean?
Right.
Get rid of the representative. They not doing you justice. Yeah.
So.
Because then if you send a representative, you don't know if a person like you for you, or they like you for who you could be or who you want to be.
So once y'all start moving on, through y'all journey or whatever, or y'all walk, and they start being their self, you start living with the person, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is not who I met.
Exactly.
This is not who I met.
Now you feel betrayed.
Betrayed, right. And that's the worst feeling.
And you start leaving, whether it's physically at that moment or mentally, you start leaving at that moment.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I love you.
I love you too.
Soul to soul.
Soul to soul.
Well, guys, thank you for watching the video. My name is Zion, and don't forget me, because I'm the son of mommy and daddy, and this is baby sis.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.